Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. So, when we left off, we had our common enemy animation controller set up with our, um, state flow that deals with, fairly typical things like, walking and running, different attack types, and things like that. And then we also had a bunch of overridden ones that just show swap out some of these empty animation clips for the actual animations associated with the model. Now, coming back then to our skeleton enemy, and sorry, so that also allowed me to replace my coded animation controllers with just the standard mechanism common enemy animation. And that's just what was previously the abstract class turned into a concrete one. So, coming back to our skeleton enemy that we started this whole thing off with, our initial problem was that we have animations that are specifically for um, one handed enemies, or rather, enemies holding one handed weapons. And we also have animations for enemies holding their weapon in two hands. Similarly, there's also idle stances that are clearly for an enemy holding their weapons or rather standing open, and other ones that might be more at home for an enemy that is holding their weapon in two hands, like their fists are together, like this one. So we want to make sure that based on what the enemy is holding in his hands, we are choosing the animations we want to use correctly. So I'm going to have I'm probably just going to start with two different override controllers, which actually I'll have a third one down the line for when I get to the bow and arrow. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on having a one-handed animation controller and a two-handed weapon animation controller. And I'm going to have my code determine based on what weapons they're holding, which animation controller to use. So from our prefab that we had initially, we have where'd it go? Skeleton. We got a few prefabs here. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these guys. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get rid of these. And we'll get rid of this skeleton animation also. We're gonna start off fresh here. So go back to my scene that came with the model package that has the prefab creator, and we'll create some random enemies here. That guy, yeah, this guy looks pretty cool. We're gonna get rid of our left-handed weapon though. We'll make this a shield. Yeah. Yeah, he's got one-handed sword and shield. We'll save this guy. And we'll just save him as skeleton one-handed. And we'll create a second guy here. And we'll give him the two-handed sword. Now, you know what? We'll give him the two-handed axe. Yeah. So from here, we got our skeleton one-handed and our skeleton two-handed. And he comes by default with this skeleton AC animation controller and their own custom stuff. Once I've kind of got these prefabs working, I'm going to go back into their editor code and I'm going to change this up so the prefab that gets created is a little more in line with what I want. But for now, we can go back to our combat arena. And we'll go ahead and add our gameplay objects back in. And we have our spawn location. So first off, let's go ahead and wire up our prefab. So skeleton one-handed, skeleton two-handed, so we're going to go ahead and have a new animation override controller. Skeleton 1H animation controller, and its base is going to be the enemy animation controller that we had defined before. And we have all these temp clips in here. Now, those temp clips have no actual animation associated with them. They're just there for the sake of having a placeholder in the override. So we do need to go through our whatchamacallit, our skeleton pack here with all of our animations, and we need to take a look at these and decide which animations we want for which positions. So we'll add in, I've locked my inspector in the right, and I'm going to add a new inspector here so we can look at these animations and just pull them over. So first off, we have, some of these are like just literally listed as attack 1H, so they're obviously one-handed attacks. And let's go ahead and do this with our prefab itself. Yes, that's one-handed attack, 2 hits, and this will be one-handed, or this will be a two-handed attack, 1 hit. So you can see he's got his hands together, which, you know, that actually does kind of work with the shield, but it doesn't look right because of the way the clipping works. So we have our one-handed attack, 1 hit. We have a one-handed attack, 2 hits, and one-handed attack 3 hits. Wait, no, it's not 3 hits, it's just one-handed attack 3. So how's that different? Actually doesn't look different at all. So that's weird. I don't know what to think about that. Either way, we have the overhead and we have the swipes. So let's go ahead and grab, we'll do the one-handed attack as attack 1, and we'll do the double swipe as attack 2. We need a idle. So it's idle 1. Idle 2 has him looking around a little bit. Idle 3 is the two-handed version. Idle 4 has a very open stance. Yeah, sword is up in idle 4. That's the deal. Then idle 5 is the same as idle 4. I don't understand some of these. There's something weird going on with the import or something like that. Or they just duplicated some clips. Who can say? You never quite know. Either way, idle one-handed, or idle 1 rather, looks good. Let's grab that. We don't have a jump or anything, do we? No, there's no jump. We need a walk and run. So we have 2 walk animations, 3 walk animations. Got this walk. this walk that looks pretty identical. And we have this walk, which is a two-handed animation, I think. And we have a walk backwards, which, for the sake of this current controller, I'm not going to worry about the strafing or walking backwards or forwards or anything. I'll come back to that with some updates to the animation controller, or even like a whole different one. But for now, we'll just worry about the existing animation setups that we have. So we have a walk, and I think there's only one run. Which looks stupid, but that's fine. The beauty of having a Mechanim animation system set up is that if I don't like these animations, I can just go buy some that are rigged to a humanoid. Like, that's not a big deal. So what else do we need here? We need death. And if I remember right, there wasn't really an individual die animation. It was just fall down and get up were two of the animations we had. Yeah, there's no die. There's up. Where's fall down? There's fall. Yeah. So fall will be our death animation. And we'll also go ahead and fill in our fall down animation. Even though I don't have any code that's actually wired up to use it yet. In addition, we'll do the get up animation. We don't have any kind of blocking, so I am going to need to buy one for that. Yeah, actually, I don't think any of my other enemy animations are humanoid rigged, so pulling one of their guards in isn't really going to do anything for me. Though, let's take a quick look, actually. Because I thought I had one or two here that have a guard. Yeah, defend. Yeah, it's not rigged to a humanoid. You can tell because the model's halfway through there. So that's fine. Where'd my skeleton animations go? There you are. Alright, so what else are we missing here? Jump we don't have. Hit. We need to get hit. So hit 1. And hit 2. Is that the exact same animation? It is the exact same animation, at least as far as I can tell. So yeah, I don't are there any differences here? Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. Yep. Hit goes on. I don't have an attack 3. I don't really have any kind of special attack or well, we have this arc fire. What is this? That's for the bow and arrow. Appear, attack 1, attack 2, attack spell. It looks kind of dumb with the shield. But that's fine. We can go ahead and put. I don't have any spell casts yet, anyways. Sleeping. Don't really have anything for sleep or blocking or special attacks. Yeah, so I don't really have any special attack animations or anything. So yeah, so I think that looks good. At least that's close enough for the moment. So let's pop back to our skeleton prefab now that we have this guy kind of wired up. Skeleton one-handed prefab. So we're going to go ahead and use this animation controller instead. We're going to ditch this. We're going to kill this character controller as well. And we'll use our model information to... And we'll leave this alone. This is all just for augmenting the nav mesh. And we have a Mechanim common enemy animation controller. So let's go ahead and in our object pool appender, I've got this test enemy node that I've been using, and we'll just swap that in. And let's see what happens. There's an enemy. He's walking around. He does his look around in idle. This is set up to the grazing enemy prefab, by the way. Yeah, way too... I need to solve the issue of having the enemy be way too close for my collisions. I've been having that issue with some bigger enemies, but you know, for the moment, I think we'll just scale them down. There we go. We'll scale them down a little further. We'll make him be a midget skeleton. There we go. Hi there, Tiny. And there's our attack. He gets hit. Now there is still the animation controller I have has some issues with the animation priority. Like if he's attacking and then I also hit him at the same time. Like you see how he hit and then the animation to get hit is queued up. Alright, so I need a mechanism for, you know, animation priority. Depending on the position in the walk cycle also. When he's going back to idle for the fight, there's a point where he might still be walking in place. A few other odds and ends like that, but you know, that's more of a holistic issue with the animation controller than anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and this will be our... We're going to make our two-handed animation controller. And assuming I want to create prefabs like this for specific skeletons, I don't really need to worry too much about what he has equipped, because I can tell it which animation controller to use. The need to swap out the animation controller is more in a scenario where I'm going to determine the weapons that are available after the enemy is spawned. Which, I mean, quite frankly, I don't need to do. Like, that might be an extra step of complication that I don't need. I can't imagine... Like, these skeleton enemies are cool and they're interesting. Like, I can tell the creator kind of, you know, based on the animation controller it comes with being bound to keyboard input, you know, it's probably not what the, it's probably not something the creator, you know, meant to be used as an enemy. They probably meant it to be used as the player character. You know, and, you know, it's fine. But... You know, I can't imagine having more than 10 skeleton types or something like that. Like if I have so many different types of skeleton enemies, like that's kind of uninspired. Yeah, so there'll probably be a handful I'll use, and I might, you know, bring them back in a later level with like some other augmentations, like change the color or something like that. But like aside from the animations for one-handed, two-handed, and the bow and arrow, I can't really think of anything that is really going to be an issue. As far as just like using the different weapons, like the mace versus the sword or things like that. Like the one-handed animation controller is going to work fine for all of those. So, you know, I might not need to swap it out based on based on the weapon type. But that's okay. So we can come back here with our two-handed animation controller. I'll lock this in place and bring back my inspector so we can look at the animations. First off, we need to swap out the idle. So the only thing we really need to swap out is the idle, the attacks. The idle and the attacks. Maybe the walk. We'll see how the walk looks with the two-handed model. Speaking of, let's go and grab our two-handed skeleton prefab and drop him in here. So that's our two-handed overhead. And what about these other two-handed attacks? We had duplicate ones for the second and third attack. That's a poke. That's a slash. Okay, so we actually do get 3 different attacks with this one. Wonder why we didn't get that with this. Yeah, we just had the overhead. We had the slash, and we had the exact same slash. That's weird. Either way, though. So we have 3 attacks with this guy, which is great, except that my code doesn't even support using more than 1 attack at the moment. That's something I'll need to add in. Yeah, no special attacks. The idle we need to look at. I think it was idle 3 is the two-handed stance. Yeah. And we had walk, I think, was gonna potentially be a problem here. Because there's a walk two-handed. Except that is clearly not touching the hand. So they fucked up when they did this. So I guess we'll stick with the two-handed walk. Or the one-handed walk, rather. Yeah, so let's swing on back to the skeleton prefab here, and we'll give this guy the same treatment. So we'll give him the two-handed animation controller, and we'll ditch these guys. And we'll update our object pool to use the two-handed model instead of the one-handed. Oh, and we also need to scale him down as well, I suppose. Let's see how this looks. Well, there he is. I don't know what those dots are supposed to be. What are those? I have no clue what those are. Oh, that's interesting. When I scaled the Those are supposed to be his eyes. Why they're scaled at 0, though, I don't know. But either way, they didn't really react well to me scaling him down. I bet if I scale him back to 1... right in place, yeah. So that's a bug. Or rather, that's a problem with the way they've set up their prefabs or anchored them or whatever. Yeah, I'll have to deal with that at some point. But either way, he's attacking with the one-handed animation. I thought I'd swap that out. I guess I missed. Yeah, that was the poke. And that one's the two-handed overhead that I guess I just screwed up. Did not select the correct one. Where'd you go? Skeleton. There you are. There we go. Let's try that again. There we go. Now he's using his two-handed attack. Well, it looks good. I mean, aside from the animation priority thing that I talked about before. But boy, that two-handed stance looks goofy. It's almost like his left hand isn't properly rigged. Oh well. I mean, that solves our issue with the one-handed, two-handed. It's a shame about those animations, though. Um, oh well. Maybe when I buy some proper animations from the asset store, like, it'll clear itself up. Or maybe I'll finagle a little bit more and see if there's something else I can't find. But either way, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys later.